Y'all, it's Niecy Dixon. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, y'all, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. If this is your first time on my channel, today is Sunday where I like to do brunch at Niecy's. Usually it's a roundup of all the shows that premiere over the weekend, but for today we are only talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville. Tomorrow I get into the housewife shows, but Sundays are going to gear back up, y'all. Definitely closer to the end of this month because Ready to Love is coming back. So I'll have probably Ready to Love and hopefully another weekend show to talk about. Now, y'all, like I said, this is a Love and Marriage Huntsville review. Last night we interviewed y'all girl, Melody Holt. She was super cool, y'all. I was mainly excited to talk to her just because she was another 11/11 Scorpio like me. And we also asked her the questions that y'all wanted to know. We asked her why was she defending Tiffany so much, okay? Because Tiffany has been doing the most. We asked her, does she think that Marceau flirts with her? Because that's something y'all been talking about for 3 seasons now. We also asked her if she was preventing Coleslaw, aka Ariane, from being on the show. We asked her why Destiny wasn't revealing as much as her tea, if she was going to be a full-time castmate. We asked her all the questions y'all wanted to know. So I'll post a few highlights later on my channel, but if you would like to see the entirety of the interview, you can go check that out on Bondi Blue's channel, okay? So shout out to the Ooh Ladies First panel because we actually be doing things. We actually be doing things. I'm laughing at y'all. Y'all like, hold on, what is going on with my TV? And I was just going, y'all. I was just going. Shout out to y'all. I really love y'all because y'all like, nah, I'm going to stick by her side. And I'm going to stick by her side. And that's exactly what y'all did. Hey, California cutie. Y'all are sticking by my side. Okay. So, and another thing, for those of y'all who are not new around here, if this is your second, third, fourth time or whatever coming on my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, baby, what are you doing? What is you doing? Okay? If you done been here a couple times, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now, y'all, my friends, those of you who we're already on friend level, hashtag Niecy Hive, let me tell y'all what my plans are. So like I said, I'm a Scorpio, okay? My birthday is November 11th, 11/11. I'm just about, what's that, the third? I'm like 40 days out or so, 30, close to 30 days out from my birthday. So this time of year, I try to go into full gear. I try to cut the carbs, cut the alcohol, so that way I could be looking snatched by my birthday. Even more snatched, okay? Your girl's turning 27 this year. So instead of having alcohol, I have my sparkling water and just a little slice of peach because y'all know I like to have the pretty drinks. So I'm glad y'all like the interview. Again, I said I'll post highlights. And then if you want to see the full review, it'll be on Bondi's channel. Oh, I'm so glad y'all liked the interview, okay? So now, without further ado, I ain't going to hold y'all. Y'all know how I like to do. If I feel proud of my thumbnail, I post and I'll be like, what y'all think? Y'all tell me. What y'all think about this thumbnail right here? Because last night, all I could think of was one word. Low-key, it was embarrassing. That was probably the first word that came to mind. The second word that came to mind was awkward. Tisha's face was cracked. And when I say cracked, my bad, y'all, I'm eating my peach. When I say cracked, it was just, she literally looked like she wanted to cry. She was holding on for dear life, trying to make it seem like everything was fine. Well, I know how Marceau is. Other people don't really know how Marceau is. That don't make it okay. I think you're trying to make it seem like y'all are on the same wavelength to spare yourself some of the embarrassment. So I saw where both of them were coming from. I saw where Marceau was coming from at first. Then I kind of saw where Tisha was coming from. So let's go ahead and get down into the breakdown of the episode. I cannot wait to hear y'all's thoughts and opinions on it because I love my live squad. So I got thumbnails. Let's get into it. So in this episode, remember y'all, last week it ended off with the ladies at the club. The ladies was at the club. Tiffany was on her best Karen-ish. She was being condescending. She was starting shit. what people couldn't wrap their head around was why Destiny took this moment to address Tiffany if the situation wasn't about her. And honestly, y'all, I wasn't mad at Destiny for addressing Tiffany in this situation because she was saying all the things that Tisha was too embarrassed to say. And another thing, wrong is wrong. This scene, this is like a reach, but y'all, this scene reminded me of Love and Hip Hop. Remember a long time ago when Chrissy was with Kimbella and Kimbella was telling, was telling Emily that she used to date Fab. And Chrissy somehow got offended by it, and Chrissy started fighting her while Emily just sat there. But Emily picked up Chrissy's wig off the floor. She was here for it, okay? That's what I saw in this scene. It just reminded me of Love and Hip Hop. That's what I saw in this scene. Tisha was embarrassed. Destiny was like, this is what we're not going to do in front of the group. And Tisha was low-key here for it. She just didn't say anything. So yeah. And I talked to y'all about how you could tell Kimmy was low-key there for it too, but Kimmy didn't say nothing. She just sat there like, don't see a thing. Don't see a thing. So y'all. Anyway, that's what happened last episode. So now all the ladies are back at the Airbnb with their men and everybody is pillow talking. Kimmy is talking to Maurice and she was just so confused by the whole thing. She's like, she didn't come for Destiny. So I think she's just holding on to how she felt before. She even said they went back and forth on the bus for a little bit. Then everybody wants to make it a big deal that Destiny said that she'll drag Tiffany. Y'all, come on. Okay. I feel like the only difference between what Tiffany was saying, oh, wherever you're from, Detroit, this place in the third, and what Destiny was saying was Tiffany was being passive. Destiny was not about to be on that cute shit. You can get dragged, is what she said. By Tiffany's actions, I felt like what she was doing was drag worthy, depending on who she was speaking to. So it's like you can't come with a certain energy and think that people are just supposed to tolerate your bullshit and then try to act cute about it. Well, I didn't think I was bringing you any tea. Well, you can get dragged it really wasn't that big of a deal, in my opinion. I feel like people who just didn't like Destiny could have taken that and tried to reach and make it seem like she was being violent, but come on. Violent words matching other violent words. One is passive, one is not. Tiffany just knows how to play that Karen game very, very well. I'm going to say very well. I mean, she really ain't playing the Karen game that good. But you can tell her thought process and everything that she's been trained to do and trained to react as is very Karen-like. Somebody address you on something, start crying. You being messy, oh, I'm only trying to help you. Nah. It's just because you thought somebody was going to walk around and let you be messy Betty until you get cussed out. So it is what it is. So Kimmy's talking to Maurice and she's like, I don't know why she's doing it. I think she's still upset about the first time. Then we see Tiffany and Louis. Ooh, here they go with these hips, okay? The hips. They in there bumping and talking about what happened the night before. They're basically just recapping. Of course, Tiffany is saying, Destiny said she wanted to drag me. It was not that left field. You came with that energy. So it is what it is, right? So she says to Louis, I'm not even confrontational. You are. You are. Confrontational does not mean that you're violent. It just means that you're very direct. You confront people on things that are going on. So I hate that you're trying to act that just because you don't seem as aggressive, for lack of a better word, that makes you non-confrontational. No, you're very confrontational. Destiny's meeting you where you're at your confrontation level. The only difference is Tiffany is presenting her mess as a Karen, whereas Destiny is coming full throttle black girl like, nah, we're not about to do this. So I'm not even confrontational. Girl, keep that, okay? Between you and Louis, I cannot. So Louis, this is where he says, maybe Destiny's going through something. Maybe, it's her being around all these other great couples and she's fresh off a divorce. So maybe she's going through something serious. On the other side of things, Tiffany says, well, maybe she's jealous because of me and Mel's friendship. Y'all, this makes me so hot because I've been Destiny before in these situations. And I feel like everyone is trying to play her. Everyone is trying to play her like what she's saying isn't valid, trying to play her as if she's actually coming off aggressive when Tiffany is being just as confrontational. So, what I found a lot, like just in the world, for whatever reason, people always find it easier to put the blame on someone who they think can carry the burden rather than someone who's going to appear weaker or cry whenever you tell them they're wrong. And that's just not right. Can we just be real? Okay. And we definitely did talk to Mel about this last night. I ain't going to give y'all the full interview, but Mel explains that there's definitely things that we were not seeing. So go check out their interview and see what Mel had to say about it. I kind of understood where Mel was coming from, but for the sake of this review, I want to purely speak about what we see on TV. What I see on TV is people coddling Tiffany. Like, we really got to put a stop to the Karen stuff. We cannot allow the Karen stuff to keep working, especially as Black people. Okay? Especially as Black people. It's like, no, keep that shit over there. And we got to strong arm that shit when we see it. And it doesn't feel, based on what we've seen on TV, that this shit is being strong armed. Okay? They're coddling her. So now we will move on. We see Mel and Destiny having a conversation about last night. Everybody's just recapping. And Mel says to Destiny, she's kind of confused because she doesn't know if Destiny really likes Tiffany or if she doesn't really like Tiffany. And Destiny explains, well, every time I try to have a conversation with Tiffany or try to address what it is that I don't like about her, Bodyguard is there to save her. Y'all, we've seen it. We've seen it, I don't know how many times at this point. Kimmy and Maurice trying to have a conversation with her about speaking on their child. Mel walked in and tried to regulate the situation. Destiny addressing Tiffany at Taco Tuesday. Mel tried to regulate that situation. I think she thinks that she's coming off as a mediator, but what we're seeing on TV is definitely regulation. You're definitely telling people, or it seems like you're telling people how they can behave or how they can react to Tiffany because Tiffany is sensitive. Now, from my point of view, if Tiffany was sensitive, she would learn to shut the fuck up. You would not come around telling people business about their marriage. You wouldn't even speak on people's previous marriages, people who were divorced. So if you were also sensitive, you wouldn't talk about sensitive topics. That's just me. Okay. So anyway, Mel says in her confessional that maybe Destiny is jealous about her growing friendship with Tiffany. And again, y'all, this goes back to like, really, y'all reaching? Like, we can't just call something what it is. Now, while Mel says that in her confessional, she also says that she doesn't disagree with the things that Destiny is saying. She just disagrees with the delivery. And honestly, y'all, I think people are so sensitive. I don't think Destiny's delivery has been disrespectful one time at all. I think Destiny has been very direct about her issues with Tiffany. I think she's been patient. I think she's done everything besides what she should have done, which was cuss her out. So I don't think there's an issue with the delivery at all. And I'm like, what is it? Like, I was just, what is it that we're not seeing? Because I was more so surprised that Kimmy was talking to Maurice, and Kimmy was like, I don't know why Destiny is so upset. And I'm like, really? Typically, me and Kimmy be right here. We be on the same page. Typically, me and Mel, for the most part, be right here. So I'm like, what is it that I'm not seeing? Because her delivery seems fine to me, because I know I would have been much worse than what she did. And yes, Dougie Doug, if somebody's delivery is bad, it's Tiffany's delivery. Y'all, last episode, when she was talking to Tisha, If she wanted to come from a good place, she would have pulled her to the side. She would have came from a place of concern, like, hey, girl, you need to talk to your husband. But what we saw last episode was, really? Are you sure? I don't know. I don't know. That's not what he said. Are you sure? Girl, all the faces you're making, like, I just wanted to mush her in the face because you're making all these facial expressions, making Tisha look dumb. And I don't think that came from a place of concern. But anyway, Destiny says that she didn't go there with Tiffany until Tiffany became condescending. Mel starts laughing and was like, well, you had the facial expressions all before long. Like you kind of were giving that energy before Tiffany actually went there. While that may be true, I don't think Destiny did anything over the top. So I will have to say I have to disagree with Mel on this entire situation. Destiny, thank you. I will say that. Destiny was getting on my last nerves at the beginning of the season because I felt like she wasn't talking about nothing. But we need somebody to hold Tiffany accountable. Ain't nobody else holding Tiffany accountable. For what? Okay? For what? So, Destiny, you are playing your part definitely towards the end of this season because if we ain't gonna find nothing else about your life, we need somebody to hold Tiffany accountable for the Karen bullshit because I ain't got time for it, okay? So now we can move on back to the pillow talk, y'all. While everyone is recapping from the night before, Tisha finally has a conversation with her husband, Marcel, about what she had to hear from her friends. Okay. So I hate to say it, y'all. While Tiffany was being messy as hell, I think her and Louis were right when they said this would have never been a situation if you had talked to your wife in the first place. But I don't think that it was their place to be bone carriers. Okay, so I do have to say they're right because it doesn't seem like Marcel and Tisha have conversations at all. And we'll get into that deeper to the end of this live, especially when they were at the dinner table. But it's like, what do you and Marcel talk about? Like, it's really sad from what we're seeing. The only thing that we keep hearing Marcel talk about is commitment. And initially, when he was grazing over marriage and saying that, it's for better or for worse, I was like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But to him, he almost made it sound like it was a life sentence. It really sounded like I made my bed, so now I got to lay in it type shit. So we'll talk about that again deeper to the end of the live and then at dinner because I think Mel brought up a good point, but it's definitely something going on. So anyway, Tisha brings up what she heard to Marcel. She says, "Do you think I'm insecure?" She was like, "I'm not insecure. I definitely have insecurities." And Marcel says, "No, I don't think you're insecure at all. I think you have insecurities. And I think that something is wrong since you surprised me with therapy." No, duh. No, duh. No, duh. Something's wrong since she surprised you with therapy. If you would have sat your ass down in the therapy course, participated in the therapy course, you would have heard where she was coming from. So it is beyond me that y'all on this trip in Vegas and you knew something was wrong since the therapy session, but you wait until she comes back to you telling you what she heard from somebody else for you to finally question what's actually wrong. What? Y'all, I hope y'all followed that whole web of what I was just saying. I don't get it. You went to therapy with her. You knew something was wrong. You didn't discuss that with your wife. Instead, you discussed that with the men on the basketball court. And not only do you not come to her and confront her on her feelings, she has to come back to you and address her feelings again based on what she heard, not based on her cry for help by going to therapy. So do you care? Or no, because it doesn't seem like you really cared that anything was wrong. It seems like you're only, even having conversation on this because Louis was talking to his wife. So anyway, Tisha explains to him that really she didn't start feeling insecure until the last couple years. She says that it's the rumors. Now y'all know the rumors of the side babies and everything else, him cheating. Yes, we asked Mel about this as well on the interview. But yeah, y'all know the rumors, right? And Marceau, y'all keep in mind this entire conversation that he has with Tisha, I don't think he explains if the rumors are true or false. What he does is he tries to discredit everyone who's coming to her telling her stuff. Marcel, I think you need to speak on what you can control, which is your image. I think you need to speak on what you can defend, which is your trustworthiness and your honesty to your wife. I don't think that your tactic should be to discredit people who are coming to Tisha because we still ain't got no answer from you. So he says to her, well, would you take business advice from these people who are coming to you? Would you take financial advice? And she says, well, no. And he says, okay, so why are you believing what they're saying? And Tisha's just like, no, well, I don't know. Just sounding real gullible. You're not giving her the answers that she wants to hear. So Tisha brings up another point. Well, it's not just random people, it's family. Okay, but would you take business advice? What does that have to do with whether you are cheating or not cheating? Answer the question. Stop talking in circles. He's not answering the questions. So then she goes from saying, okay, well, I have to work on getting to the place that you are as it comes to listening to people on the street. I guess I should just trust you and know my husband better. Okay. So then she goes from that to saying that she really just wants him to spend more time with them. And it seems to me like she feels like a single mother while he's working. And basically he just says, I got to get this bread. I got to work for our family and I got to do this, that, and the third. That makes no sense to me, y'all. I understand how some people were raised that way, but if you're so stressed trying to provide for your family, you have a wife who's begging you to work and you have the means of childcare for your 2 to 3 children, why are you bring yourself to such a space to where you're depressed because you're working so hard for your family? To me, y'all, let's just call it what it is. I think that by him keeping Tisha in the house and him having to work hard for their family, that's just a way for him to create a divide between what he can do in his world and having Tisha in her world, which is at the house. It's a method to control. And it's also a method for you to be able to do whatever you want to do. She can't keep tabs on you as much. She needs you. She's not going to question you as much if you're the one bringing in all the money to the house. Recently, y'all, I seen Tisha do an interview. I think it was with Crystal XO, and she was explaining how she grew up thinking that she should never depend on a man because she learned that from her mom, her aunts, and everything else. So now she's in a situation where she has to trust Marcel with everything. So she says she's trying to break the habit of going from, oh, I should have my own to, oh, well, I have a man who wants to take care of me. Yes, he wants to take care of you, but at the same time, he wants to control you and do whatever the fuck you want to do. Because it's like if these lifestyles or if this way of living was ingrained in you so much, why don't we see your brother Maurice doing it? Why isn't Maurice treating Kimmy this way? Kimmy works. So I'm not understanding how you can work yourself into a depression when you have a wife who's ready to provide. And you're on a show that you're making money on. Make it make sense. Next, y'all. He says, well, you know what? I think we can just go on a private date. And this is in response to Tisha. Tisha says, well, I'm thinking that we should do something. I'm thinking that we could maybe do something like a renewal, nothing big. What do you think about that idea? And this is her probing him, trying to see if he would be interested in renewing vows. His response to that was that he would like to go on a private date. And she says, well, why does it have to be private? And as soon as she said, why does it have to be private? I was irritated. Because to me, I feel like Tisha is trying to prove something to other people. Tisha planning this vow renewal was trying to prove something to her cousin, Boom Boom, and, Pumpkin back at home that her marriage is perfectly fine. So for me, I was like, why are y'all proving shit? But then the resistance that we see from Marceau is so unnecessary that I'm almost like, Why are you doing all this? So Marceau is not here for the vow renewal. Okay. We didn't know that Tisha had already paid for the venue. She didn't tell him all that. But he's not here for it and he's not going to do it. She doesn't fight it. She just says, okay, knowing deep down inside that she keeps compromising for what Marceau wants until she literally has nothing left of herself. And I hate seeing this on TV because I can see it all over her face. Marceau explains something to her. She takes it for what it is. She compromises, and then her face is cracked until eventually you have no source of independence at all, which is why you were getting 15 million degrees, which is why you were begging him for a job. And that's why you have no confidence. That's why you're insecure. You have nothing to call your own. Marceau is telling you the house is yours. Financially, I support you. The kids are yours. But that's not enough for her. She doesn't feel like a whole person. She didn't know how to voice that, which is why she went to counseling. So let me round this scene up by telling y'all, Tisha, I feel like you were trying to prove something by trying to make sure that something was public, which was low-key irritating. Now, Marceau, I saw where you were coming from because I was like, Tisha doing the most. But then your level of resistance with this whole thing was a little bit alarming. And it really made me wonder, why not? It's not that big of a deal. So now, y'all, we can move on to the next scene, which is Tisha, Tiffany, and Louis. Now, the wide hips themselves, okay? Tisha walks in the room and she ends up telling everybody, well, just so you know, we decided to call off the vow renewal after she already paid for the venue. And they're like, what? What's going on? What's going on? And that's when Tisha goes from saying we, trying to make it seem like it was a united front decision, to letting them know that Marceau just didn't want to do it. They try to convince her as, well, maybe you should still do it. Maybe he'll like to do it. Da, 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 da. And it's like, y'all still on honeymoon phase. Y'all don't know Tisha and Marceau. What y'all are doing is asking her to embarrass herself. Okay. So I was like, Tisha, do not listen to them fools. And it seemed like she was really taking their encouragement. Like, you know what? Maybe I should surprise him. The other thing that they talk about, Tiffany ends up asking Tisha if they are good after her theatrics at the club last night. Tisha ends up saying, yeah, we're good. Tiffany just says that she wants to work on her timing. Girl, I'm irritated right now because Tisha, you're not being honest with how you feel. Okay. Now it looks like Destiny was doing the most. But I guess Tisha can't be any more mad at Tiffany than she is at her husband. So if everything's all good in the hood, like she said with her husband, I guess she can move on with Tiffany. So anyway, Louis and Tiffany convince her that she should still go to the chapel, even though he hasn't said anything about wanting to do it. He gave her a hard ass no. Okay, he don't want to do nothing in public, and you still allow these strangers to convince you that this might be a good idea. They don't know your husband, girl. They set you up for the okie doke. Okay, so now y'all, all the couples are getting ready to go to the chapel. Everybody loads the bus. They have, cute little conversations on the bus. Kimmy and Maurice are talking about Destiny and a lap dance that she gave Kimmy in the club. A little kiki here and there. Mel says that Martell looks nice in his suit. And she says, see, I can be nice. So now, y'all, they pull up to the chapel. And when they pull up to the chapel, Martell, y'all, this shit was hilarious. I'm like, Martell, this man sat there and said, why are we pulling up to the chapel? I'm confused. Like, does Mel want to marry me again? Have you lost it, Martell? Y'all, I'm laughing because I think that he was like serious. I think he's serious in his confessionals, thinking that maybe like one day Mel would just say, fuck it, let's just get married again. And he would say yes in a hot minute. I'm like, man, you are insane. There's something wrong with you. Like Mel told you last episode. Yes, Sam J. Hashtag awkward. What is going on? Delusional, naturally Mar. Okay, like what? So anyway, next, y'all, Mel, she is getting, irritated because she's like, I'm offended that anyone would even think that me and Martell would renew our vows. I want everybody to know that we are done. Y'all, I believe the woman is done. The woman is done. She gave him plenty of chances in their marriage. And part of me used to be like, she'll take him back. But nah, I don't think she will. I think that there was a point where she would have taken him back even after the child. But Martell never humbled himself enough to admit to his wrongs. And it's to a point to where he never will. Anything he does this point forward is too little too late. And Mel is doing the right thing by just moving on her damn life. Okay. She was definitely on that last night when we talked to her. So, Tisha, y'all know whenever y'all be in the Baptist church and it's that part of church where they say, will you come? Will you come? Come, will you come? So that way, you can get a prayer. It's prayer time, prayer and opening. And everybody kind of sitting there like, who gonna walk down there? Who gonna walk down there? This was that scene. Tisha said, will you come? We're gonna open up the altar for anyone. Embarrassing. We're here for you. This is your 15-year anniversary, and you're opening up the altar to 3 people who have been recently divorced, 2 people who are in a happy marriage of 10 years at this point, which is Kimmy and Maurice, and then another couple who walking around grinning ear to ear because they are still in their honeymoon phase. So you're opening up the altar when the altar should really be open for you. Okay, so look at Marcel's face. Marcel has a stiff look on his face like, I told her I am not doing this shit. And all I could do was laugh because I was like, damn, he's like serious. So they go back and forth trying to convince Marcel to do whatever he was going to do. And Tisha's like, no, he already said that, he didn't want to do it. So that's where we are. We're good at it. We know where we are. What's understood don't need to be explained. Okay. All right. Bet. All right. Monique, I'm right here with you. Monique, read the comment, y'all. I'm like, why is he resisting so much? Like, are you afraid of someone watching? Do you not want people to think that you actually love your wife? He claims that he didn't want to do it because he takes his marriage seriously. Much more seriously than getting married in a chapel. Now, if you took your marriage seriously, you would have listened to your wife when she went to therapy, when she surprised you with therapy. He's bullshitting, gaslighting. Okay. So I see where both of these people are coming from. It just does not seem like it's in a good spot to me. So Tiffany and Louis end up renewing their vows. And like I told y'all, Destiny has been giving me what I need these last couple episodes. She says, why can't Tiffany just say yes like a normal person? They say, Tiffany, do you take Louis to be your lawfully wedded husband again? She says, I absolutely do. She literally be on care shit. Yes, I do. I absolutely do. Girl, go sit. Y'all them hips, go sit down. Between Tiffany and Louis, I'm so tired of y'all. So anyway, like I said, the man, Marcel, claims he takes his marriage a little bit more seriously. And, they're trying to convince him, okay, well, if you aren't going to renew your vows, will you at least, stand in front of everybody and tell everybody how much you love your wife and what you learned over the past 15 years? Should be easy, right? Y'all came here, y'all talked about it at the Airbnb. You keep telling these people what marriage looks like, how much commitment it takes, blah, 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 blah. So I don't see why you couldn't have just stood there at the church and said, hey, it's been 15 long years. We have this many beautiful children. I love my wife, period. 15 more. Toast. That's all you had to do, but he didn't even want to do that. So, y'all, we will go ahead and move on. Mel says in front of everybody that Tisha was disappointed, and that's where Tisha says, I can speak for myself. You sound like a victim, because that's what victims often do. You really want to cry to your friends about the shit, but whenever your friends address your man about it, and you know that you're going to have to be the one to go home and hear about it, you're like, no, I'm fine. No, everything's fine. You're not okay, Tisha. You are not okay. You are insecure because your husband is not giving you what you need, and you are not a whole person. You're not a whole person. You're playing a role that Marcel signed you up for and that you agreed to. So we can't put all the blame on Marcel. It seems like Marcel has always been this way. So this is something you agreed to. Y'all, I hear somebody cutting the damn grass. So let me go ahead and get through this review. Let's go ahead and move on to dinner. This is the last scene, y'all. Kimmy is there and she brings up all the anniversaries. She's like, okay, Leslie. Leslie says, did you see how Martell was looking at Marcel? Leslie, I'm glad you said something about Martell because Martell took me out when they was at the chapel. And Tiffany says, well, maybe y'all should renew your vows. Martell says, I think that's a great idea. Y'all were trolling. Y'all knew Marcel didn't want to do that shit. It was funny, okay? So, like I said, let me hurry up before this lawnmower come over here. Dinner time, y'all. Kimmy is bringing up all the anniversaries and all the trips that they've celebrated as friends. They celebrated Mel and Martell's 10 year, which she really didn't have to bring up because something about Kimmy is always leaving out hope that they are going to get back together. And the more I watch this, and especially after talking to Mel last night, they're not getting back together, in my opinion. Or at least from what we're seeing. No, I can tell y'all, they're not getting back together. I'm going to stand beside it. So anyway, I don't know why Kimmy keeps bringing up Mel and Martell, right? So now, y'all, she says, y'all celebrated our wedding with us in Miami or whatever they had in Miami. And now we're here celebrating their 15 year. So that's when Martell says, well, we going to be celebrating the Holtz. Because Mel's like, nah, that's shut down. We won't be doing that any longer. Martell says, no, y'all gonna be celebrating me. I might get married again, and who knows? It might be Mel. Boy, y'all, this is whenever me and Mel made the same face because Mel was on the screen and was like, and I said, girl, what? What? No, ma'am. No, sir. Okay. I don't know why you keep doing this in front of everybody, saying that you and Mel are going to get back together. Let it go. It's embarrassing. One minute you're cussing her out. The next minute you are saying it's so much aggression. Okay. But none of I'm sorry. We're seeing so much aggression with Martell. Never once have we seen I'm sorry. That shit is beyond me. You go from cussing her out to 2 seconds later saying she might be your wife again. What happened in the in-between? So now, y'all, Mel is just shaking her head and Martell wants credit. Martell says, I was a good husband. He wants credit. Okay. We can't talk about the bad stuff that you did. We can't talk about the baby number 5 you had. We can't talk about you cheating on her for 5 years and everything else. We can't talk about you calling her a side chick, but you want credit for being a good husband. You're divorced. Move on. So Mel brings up Martell not wishing her well, basically saying that whatever relationship she gets in next, he hopes that it's not a good one. So she says, why would he say that? And Marcel ends up saying, well, let me tell you why. It's because he doesn't want anyone to love you better than what he thought he could love you. One thing he said, though, which was weird to me coming from Marcel, he says that Martell messed up because he compared himself as a husband when it came to other men and not necessarily what Mel needed in the relationship. It sounds like Marcel has a little bit of sense, but he can't apply it to his own marriage. What? Like, you're saying that Martell should have been listening to what Mel wanted as a husband, but here your wife is talking to a damn brick wall. How that work? Okay. So next, y'all, we will move on to Marceau addressing Louis. Marceau says at the table, one thing we want to talk about is I really would like for y'all to limit the pillow talk. And he says, when I say y'all, I'm specifically speaking to the new people. And when he said the new people that took me out, because they are new. They're new. They're doing a lot of rookie stuff. Like, it's typical shit. You should learn how to acclimate yourself among a group by being respectful, getting to know people one-on-one. But it seems like this entire season, Tiffany and Louis have been doing all the wrong things to get into the group. It's like they really try to just force themselves into the group, and it never works like that. So I'm like, okay. So now, y'all, Tiffany, she responds to Marceau and says, well, this would have never been an issue if you would have talked to your wife. And Marceau says, I'm speaking to Louis respectfully. I don't disagree with you. I don't think that she should have responded to you. She should have let her husband respond because her husband was the one who brought the tea to her and allow men to handle men shit. So that's why Louis said, I don't need you to speak up for me. And Louis says it would have never happened if you would have talked to your wife. Now, they go back and forth for a little bit. While Louis tries to act like, he ain't no punk, he ends up saying, well, I'll let you know, whatever happens between us in the future will stay between us. But I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you as a man to make you better. Y'all so full of shit. So between you being messy and pillow talking with your messy, wide hip ass wife, you want to go from turning a messy situation into a challenge. I'm going to challenge you. Y'all so full of it. Like, you and Tiffany actually do belong together. Now, while y'all told no lies, he should have been talking to his wife. It wasn't y'all's place to tell her. And in this situation, I would have appreciated if y'all just said, you're right. It wasn't my place to, regurgitate this information to my wife. He didn't say he was wrong, but what he did say was going forward, that won't happen again. Y'all keep trying to flip shit. No, I'm just trying to help her out by telling her what her husband said. No, I'm going to challenge you. Y'all are being messy, okay? Y'all are new on the show and y'all trying to shake some damn tables, which y'all have been shaking tables. So I guess you understood the assignment, but I still can't stand y'all. So now, one of the things they talk about, somebody probes the question of how important is happiness in a marriage. I think it was Louis who said it. Y'all tell me, okay? Oh, okay, Ramel with the name change. What's up? So somebody asked the question, how important is happiness in a marriage? And Mel counters the question by saying, how detrimental is depression? Whoo, when she said that, I was like, yes, that's it. Because this entire trip, we have been hearing Marceau talk about how marriage is a commitment, how, you're not always going to be happy. And it sounds like it's a punishment to him. And he made your bed, you got to lay in it. You don't leave, this, that, and the third. But how detrimental is your depression? And Marceau ends up revealing to the table that he's been more depressed than ever within the last year. And Tisha looks surprised. She looks surprised, and she is surprised because we find out in the previews for next week that she didn't even know her husband was depressed. So I'm just like, damn, what came over you for you to reveal in that moment that you've been depressed? It sounds to me like you and Tisha, this ain't gonna work. And when I say it ain't gonna work, I don't mean that y'all are gonna get a divorce. What I mean is y'all are going to continue to have an unhealthy relationship for as long as y'all can. Like, I don't understand how y'all continue to operate this way. Your wife doesn't know that you've been depressed. He says that a lot of times he finds himself basically lowering his expectations because he doesn't want to be disappointed. And that's the best way to not risk depression. And I'm like, damn, if you think like that, then you're living in a world where you probably will never reach happiness. And it sounds very similar to what you think of your marriage. So to me, I feel like that was embarrassing for Tisha to hear and not know anything about. And I feel like Marceau definitely has been through something. And when I saw that scene, I can only wonder if Maurice was like that when Maurice was with Kyla, which is probably why Marceau can't wrap his mind around Maurice getting married for a second time and now having a healthy marriage. Maurice is not having a marriage of, gender norms. He's not forcing Kimmy to, not express herself. He's with the woman who's confident, she's self-made. And I think Marceau cannot wrap his mind around it because to him, marriage is commitment. I feel like he's afraid to get a divorce. He never will get a divorce because he believes that it's just wrong. So he'd rather just sulk in his depression. And it seems like that. And it's really sad. And I think Tisha's picking up on that. But, he tries to drag her mind over here when the issue is over here. And then they move on. Then she has to walk around with her face cracked, convincing everybody that the relationship is like in the best place possible. So, girl, if you like it, I love it. So, y'all, that was pretty much the end of the episode. They put up a picture and it was just like, if you or anyone else is dealing with depression, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, man, Tisha and Marceau need counseling desperately. Marceau needs counseling desperately. The way Marceau explains things, it seems like he could be married to anybody and he wouldn't leave. It seems like there's no value in what Tisha's actually doing. Like, in what Tisha brings to the table. It sounds like you only value Tisha as a wife. And when I say a wife, I mean by her wifely duties. You don't value her as a best friend, as a confidant. It doesn't seem like you're in love with her. And I think that that's really embarrassing. That's really awkward. And it's low key sad to see. Naya, let me go ahead and read his comment. She says he would mind fuck her to not want a divorce anymore. She's very easy to manipulate. She is. She's in it as long as Marceau is in it. And whenever people say, like, they're trying to glorify commitment and make it seem like it should be, you know, upheld and people should think that they're doing a good job by just being committed. But at the end of the day, it's like both of y'all are depressed as fuck. So why should we admire your commitment to depression? What are y'all talking about? Harold, he says, ain't no way I waste all my good years in a marriage that wasn't serving me or my partner. Say it again. That's why when Mel says how detrimental is depression, I was like, that's a whole word. And I think that's why Marceau felt like he could open up, because that was a whole word. She was speaking to him. What's up, Jay Lee? Hashtag Ooh Ladies First panel, y'all. I cannot, okay? So, y'all, that's all I have for this episode. Tomorrow, I will catch y'all so we can talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City as well as Real Housewives of Potomac. Tomorrow is going to be the first time where I attempt to do a mashup, because it seems like y'all don't really be caring about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So we can talk about that for like 5-10 good minutes before we get into the good stuff, which is Real Housewives of Potomac. So, y'all, with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this review. And if y'all are new here, or especially if you're returning and you have not hit the subscribe button, baby, what are you doing? What are you doing? Hit the subscribe button, okay? Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.